Okay, so this is what we would like to try to do. Try to ask you to give us like an array of integers. I mean, how many depend on the user. The user will give us like some kind of a number, sequence of numbers, and then basically we'd like to know how many numbers this is going to be, just to have the size of the array given to us by the user. We ask the user to give us the numbers. Then we tell the user if the numbers that he entered are following some kind of a pattern that makes the array palindromic or not. Palindromic means the first value is equal to the last one, the second one equal to the one before the last, etc. And what we're going to do is, we're not going to do the whole thing right now. What we're going to be doing is just we're going to be fixing the array to something that is small and easy for us to work with, and then we will try to increase that until we see a pattern that will allow us to ask the user to give us any size. Because if we fix the size, we know exactly what kind of questions we would ask. For example, if the size was 5, all I need to do is ask if this array of 0 is equal to array of size of 4. Let's just put, because we know what this is, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if this is true, and array of 1 if it's equal to array of 3, then we know that this is palindromic, else this is not palindromic. So it's quite easy when we know exactly the size, we fix it ourselves. But when we don't know the size, this is going to become a little bit more tricky. But let's just do the thing that we know it's easy, and then we go from there. So let's just start there, and then let me just declare the array, for example, to be an array of int, and then what's the name of the array? Well, let's be creative and put array. So let's fix it at, let's start small, 3. When 3 is quite easy, so I'm just going to be, you know what I'm going to do, just to make it clear that this is the size is equal to 3, and whatever is in this variable, this is going to be here, so I don't need to change here. I will just change it from here. So it's quite clear what I need to change the size, so I can increase it. Now I declared the array, I just need to ask the user. So I'm going to have a for loop that is going to repeat until the array.length from 0, and then I'm asking the user, please enter, and then I can say number, and maybe put this in the middle, some I plus 1. So I can see number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. Of course, number 1 is going to be at position 0, but this is not what we're doing. We're just displaying this to get the position. Now, this array of I is going to be having the kb, and named kb.nextInt. Now I have this array that is going to be having 3 numbers. Let me just check that everything is okay. Now I'm just going to run this. Please enter number 1. So this is 1, and then 2, and then 1. So now, to be palindromic means that this should be equal to this. Should I ask about this one? I don't need, when it's quite odd, the size is 3 or 5, I don't need to really ask about the last one, because I don't need to compare it with anything. It's just the one in the middle. So whatever the number is, it will stay as it is. But when it's 4, for example, then I'm going to be comparing. So what kind of questions should I ask to say if it's palindromic now? Now, after reading this, I just need to ask a question that says, if the array of 0 is equal to the array of 2, that's the last value, which is going to be, yes, it's palindromic. And else, well, the array is not palindromic. Something like that. Okay, let's just do something like this. Now let's run this, and I enter the number 1, 2, and 1 again, and the array is palindromic. If I enter 1, 1, and 2, the array is not palindromic. So that's okay. Yes.
What if 1, 1, 1?
What if it's 1, 1? That's palindromic as well, because the condition is just the first one is equal to the last one. Fine, that's easy. But now what we'd like to do is to change this to 4 and see what would be the different things that I need to change. Now by changing this to 4, now the comparison between the first and the last will change, right? So this was 3, it was 2. When it's 4, it's 3. Can I put like some kind of, is it like size minus 1? This is going to work all the time. So this first question is going to be working even if it's 3, because when it's 3, then it becomes size minus 1 becomes 2. Now when it's 4, the size is 4. This is going to compare the first one with the last one, which would be 3 in this case. But I can't stop here. I need to ask another question. Which one? Let's just forget about this so I don't get confused. So this is the question about the first one with the last one, and then 1 and array of 2. So now if this is the case, if I enter, this is going to be palindromic because I'm comparing the first one with the last one, the second one with the one before the last. But can I just use the same idea by putting size here, because it will be much more convenient if I can just put some kind of size minus 1, and this is size minus 2, right? Because when 4 minus 1, that's 3. 4 minus 2, that's 2. So I'm comparing now the palindromic when it's 5 as well, when it's 4 as well. What is 5? If I change to 5, do I need to change something? From 4 to 5, I don't need to change anything. Why? Because what am I doing in 4? I'm just comparing and then 2 and 1. When this was 4 without this thing, I was just comparing this one with the last and the one with this one before the last. Now if I entered another one, this one, is it part of any question that I'm going to ask? No, I'm just going to, because I put this size minus 1 and size minus 2, now I'm looking for the one that is the last and then the one before the last. So which means this question here is not needed to ask anything about question 3. It's going to say it's palindromic. And if it's not palindromic really, so let's do something like this, for example, 2 and then 3 and 1, whatever. So it is not palindromic, so it just, whatever works with 4 will work with 5, yes. Yes. Of course, we're not going to be doing something like this, but I just would like you to be able to see the pattern, and once we're ready, we're going to put a loop there. So, but we're not ready yet. Are we ready to put a loop to decide if it's palindromic or not? I'm not sure. Yes. So now what happens if it's 6? I must add another question, which is array of from 0 compared to the one before the last, the second to the one before the last, the third should be compared to right? And that's it. This is going to be working. So if I put something like this, that's 3, 2, and 1. Now this is palindromic, and then if I make one of them so it is not palindromic. Do you see some kind of repetition here? Do you see that when this is based on the size, I always have to ask a question from 0 until 2. When this was 3, the question that I was asking was just this one. When it became 4, I need to ask 2 questions. When it was 5, it stayed the same. When it's 6, here. If it's 7, it will stay the same. When it's 8, well, with 8 I need another set of questions. So, do you see some kind of way how this is going to be in some kind of a loop? What would be the loop then? If I'd like to put a loop about these things, a loop that is going to be asking this question many times. However, instead of 0, this should be changed to something. Just to put a loop now, just put the condition and some kind of I that starts from 0 until what?
Size.
The size. Okay, let's look at this thing, and then what are we going to do here is maybe is it going to be like this, like just copy this, and I'm just copying this thing, but is it going to be always size minus 1? No, because it's size minus 1 minus I. Why minus I? Because when it was 0, it was size minus 1. So when this is 0, this is size minus 1. But when it's 1, this becomes size minus 2, which means 1 minus 1 minus 1 becomes minus 2. And then when the array, the I is 2, then it's going to be size minus 3. 2, and then this is 1 minus 2. Yes?
If I change the line number 20 from
20.
it could be to in size equal KB next int.
Yes, that's
allow the use of
exactly.
size and
Exactly, that's what we're going to do. But we're not. Well, I don't want to go there yet, because what I'd like to do now is just to make sure that it still works for the 3, 4, 5, etc. Now, what happens now? What would happen if I do something like this? Is it enough? Well, let's see it. Let's run this thing. Now, I'm going to put again. The size is 3, right? So I'm just going to put in a palindromic 3 array of 3, and then look what I get. Okay, it repeats 3 times because do I have to repeat 3 times? I should ask the question only once. Basically, why the I should be going to 2 and 3? The I should stop at it was 0 and that's it. I don't want to go further, because when I have this array of this size, I just need to ask the first one is equal to the last one, and that's it. I don't need to ask many times. Now, what you need to realize is that my I doesn't have to go until the end of the array. My I has to go, and it's much clearer for when it's like this, for example. 1, 2, 2, 1. Now, this is how many questions should I ask? 2. The first one, is it equal to the last one? And then the second one, is it equal to the one before the last? How many times should I repeat? 2 times. I have 2 questions, a question for every iteration, so I need to repeat 2 times, because I is going to be 0 and then I is going to be 1, and that's it. I don't need to make I become 2 and 3. I don't need that. So when this is 4, I need to ask 2 questions. Maybe I should put size divided by 2. When it's 4, it's 2. When it's 6 or 5, let's say 6. When it's 6, I have 3 questions to ask. When it's 8, 4 questions to ask. When it's 5, it's like 2 questions. But if the size is 5 here, 5 divided by 2 becomes 2, because int by int is an int. So that makes my work. This make my job. That's what I would like to do actually. So let's make it run again. With now, notice this is 5, and I'm going to put palindromic 5, and I'm asking the question twice. That's what I would like to do, because I'm asking this one, is it equal to this one? It says yes. This one is equal to this one. It's yes. So that's why I'm seeing this palindromic twice. I don't want to see palindromic twice, but let's just fix that later. Yes. The size equal to 7. This is going to be also the same thing. Let me just run this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But then I'm displaying this 3 times, because I'm repeating 3 times, because 7 divided by 2, that's 3. Why 3 again? Because an int divided by an int, the result is an int. So the 0.5 is going to be gone. And then so the I is going to be 0, 1, and 2. And then I'm going to be asking a question, is array of 0 equal to array of size minus 1 minus 0? So what is the size again? 7 minus 1, that's 6. Which means I'm asking the question about, is this one is equal to the last one? Maybe to make it easy to see, I'm just going to go back to the, like this, something like this. That will make it even easier for us to follow the content of the variables and to see actually a better question there. So let's now, if I run this with 7, you're going to see now this is much maybe easy to follow the question that I'm asking. So let me fix this and have a look. So now what happened is that when I set this to 7, I repeat this 3 times, and the proof is that this is repeating 3 times. But what if I have, I mean, first of all, what am I doing? The first one is that the size was 7, so 7 minus 1, that's 6. And then the first time I'm comparing 0, array of 0, with array of 6, and then I becomes 1, so I'm comparing array of 1 with 6 minus 1, so that's 5. And then I becomes 2, and then I'm comparing this with this one, because how do we get 4 here? Because 6 minus 1, sorry, this is 6 minus I. What is I? When it's 2 here, it becomes 6 minus 2. 7 minus 3, but this size minus 1 is 6, right? And then minus 2, so 6 minus 2, that's 4. That's why I'm comparing this one to this one. We know that the size is 7. So when I is equal to 2, this is equal to what? 7 minus 1, that's 6. 6 minus 2, that's 4. So that's why I'm comparing this. And I don't need to compare this one, because it's the one in the middle. I don't need to compare it. Now this is going to work with any size. So we can ask the user to tell us the size, to give us the size, and then by doing something like this, just ask the user to give us a size, and then, but this is not going to work, because this should be after the declaration of the scanner, because I'm using now the scanner to get the value from that, and I can just display, please enter the size of the array. And then once I have that, I can just put like the size of the array 4, for example, and then I'm just going to put the numbers there. Now what would happen is, if it's not palindromic, I'm going to get mixed answers there, but that's what I don't want to. Why am I getting mixed answers? Because every time I'm asking this question and I'm displaying something, but I don't want to display something until I know exactly if this is palindromic or not. So I could use maybe a break. When it's not palindromic, I can break, right? We could do something like this, but that's not exactly what I'd like to do, because if you put a break, what if for the first question, well, it's, yeah, you're right. This break is going to work when it's not palindromic. Yeah, I think that's a good advance. So let's say, for example, I have something like this. Now, if it's palindromic, I'm going to see it twice, but if it's not, like 1, 2, 2, 2, and 2. The array is not palindromic. When it's not palindromic, it's going to just display the message once. But what if I have something like this? 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 1. I'm still seeing palindromic, not palindromic, because it's going to break only if the first question is this first question, which means the first number and the last one are not equal. But if they are equal, and then maybe the others are not, then it's not going to stop. So that's not the way how we do this. What we should do, actually, we should just memorize, find a way like to do some kind of Boolean expression to see if it's palindromic. Let's just say something like this: is palindromic. Now this is palindromic, I'm just going to set it somehow, and then I cannot decide it's not palindromic until, or maybe I can't decide that this is palindromic until all the questions were answered. Which means if I just ask this question, is this one equal to this one, and I found that they're equal, can I say that they're palindromic? No, I can't. I have to completely ask all the questions. However, if it's not palindromic, if the first question makes this different, should I keep asking about the others?
No.
So if it's not palindromic, I can stop looking. But if it's not palindromic, then I have to keep looking if it's or ask all the questions to see if it's really palindromic. So my question is, why am I talking like that? Because I would like to know, am I going to make this true and then ask the question to make it false somewhere inside? For example, is palindromic, then you put something false, or maybe the opposite. Am I going to make this false, and then if I find this, I make this true? What am I going to do? That's the question that I need to ask myself. Well, let's try one and see what would be the outcome of that one, and then this might help us. If it's not that one, then it should be the other. So now if we make this false, we assume that it is not palindromic. Is this okay to make it work? So I can just, for example, at the end, or let me just do something up, cancel this, because I need to copy. I just don't want to type again, and then bring it back. And at the end, I'm going to type something like this. No. Yeah, it's palindromic, but so if it is palindromic, I say palindromic. If it's not, I'm say it's not. Is this going to be all right?
No, we need else.
We need another else to do. Is palindromic false? Let's try. Let's make the small size. Let's say 4, and then we have 1, 2, and 2, 1. Oh, good, it's working. What if it's not? 1, 2. Oh, no, that's not what I want. 1. Again. The size first, please. Yes, 1, 1, and 2. That seems to be working with those sizes. Let's just keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's not palindromic, and what if it is? Yes, I'm really in the mood of knowing what I'm doing. We were testing this to be working. Now, what if I'd like to make it again, but the first question is going to be true, but the second one is not? That's good. What if I have again, and then make the second question false, while the second question will be true? Is it going to be? Hey, ooh, that's not. I was looking for something like this, and this is showing you two things. Don't just stop testing your code just because you find some nice results that you like, because that might hide some other cases that might not be what you want to. I mean, you did not test. So what I did with this I tested that the first question was true, and then the first question was false, and then I made sure that it works in all the time. That's what you should be doing as well. When you test your program, just don't stop when you test and you find some good results. Just keep testing all the scenarios to be sure that it's not working. So it is really working. So why did it not work? Just try to see why do we get this array is palindromic while it's not. Now, the palindromic here is going to be false. Now the size is 4. 4 divided by 2, that means this is 2. So the I is going to be 0 and then 1. Now, is array of 0 is equal to array of 4 minus 1, that's 3, which is this equal to this? So the answer is no, right? So we should go and put palindromic to be false. And then what happens is that I go up and then ask the question again. And then when I ask the question again, I'm going to compare these two, and this will make it true. And when I finish the loop, the last value of palindromic is true. It was false, but we kept asking. Shall we keep asking if we know that it's not palindromic? No. So we could fix that just by putting some kind of a break. When it's not palindromic, you make it false and you get out. When it's palindromic, then you just keep asking until you make sure that all the questions will result in being true. Now this is going to make this case and other cases to be true. But let's try to understand what is going to happen here. And let's run. Put it 4. We said 1, 2, 2, 1. That's still okay. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's not palindromic. And then let's run it again. And 4, have 1, 2. This is what I tried just before. 2 and then 3, something like this. So I'm just testing. I tested that this first question, if it's right, and I mean if it's not okay. I test also the other ones. I think I did. Let me test again. I don't remember. Let me test now this second question, this one. I'm going to test it to make them again different. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's not palindromic. And now this makes sense. But however, I can just make this a little bit better. Because look at this. I make it false. And then I will put it true. But the only time I'm going to put it false and stop is where it's not equal. So it's basically, I could just do something like this. Let's assume it is palindromic. And then if it's not palindromic, let's stop. Which means it's not palindromic if this is true. If the array of the first one with the last one is not equal, then you decide that it's not palindromic and then you break. Do you see it? This is in the else. So if I want to make it in the then, I just need to flip the question. Now if I flip the question, I don't oops, sorry, let's go back. I'm just going to need to do something like this. And this is actually much neater, but if you're more comfortable with that one, that's okay too. That's not a problem. It might be a little bit confusing, so you make it true, true, true. But that's okay. But this is equivalent to this, which maybe seems neater. Yeah. All right, shall we test it with bigger number? Are you convinced? Let's make it for 7, for example. Oops, here. If I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, obviously it's not. But then let's just run it again with 7 and try to put some 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it is palindromic. And let's run it again with 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 1. So it's not palindromic. As long as as soon as it finds that one of them is not palindromic, it just stops. And let me just test it again with maybe the first question to be false. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 2. So now this first question was false. Let's just make sure that the second question is false, and that will test the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 1. So every time one of the question is not, this is one of them is different, then it's going to make it false and stop and display that it's not palindromic, or it is if it was never different. And that's it.